There was a time when the United Kingdom hosted United States' nuclear bombs. There's a possibility that we may be doing it again. I'm going to read into this article from The Guardian, guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that a council is urged to renew plans that could lead to the United Kingdom hosting US nuclear bombs. The Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament seeks environmental impact assessment of the 144-bed dormitory project at the RAF Lakenheath. So the last time we really hosted a vast amount of nuclear bombs was, of course, during the Cold War. It's also fair, and people can correct me wrong in the chat, but I believe up in Scotland they do hold some of the United Kingdom's nuclear submarines as well. These weapons are weapons of abomination, of absolute destruction. These are weapons that don't end wars. They're genocide. They're absolute wipeout of civilizations in one fell swoop. We should not forget what happened with the hydrogen bomb and the story there. The Hiroshima plant. Nuclear weapons are one of the most dangerous weapons to have ever existed, and God forbid if America and Russia ever decide to launch them, all because of our petty human decency or whatever humanity we have. And for what? What for? Because we have disagreements? Is that what it is? It's just, they always say that nuclear bombs are just there as a deterrent. They're there as a deterrent. But when does it stop becoming a deterrent and start being used as a weapon? Because they may ever, God forbid, they may come a day where they will decide to push that button. It's true. And I hope that neither in my lifetime or your lifetimes that anyone watches this, that we ever see something like this ever occur. Now, obviously, I'm coming from the UK, so obviously we don't have as many as the United States, but obviously it doesn't sit. I don't think it sits well knowing that you have such weapons of mass destruction at your disposal, at the fingertips as a nation, at the hands of a president who could potentially use them at any time. But even just having them here in the UK makes it incredibly uncomfortable. So why is there talk about all this? So let's read into it, guys. An attempt by the Ministry of Defence to build a dormitory that could lead to the return of US nuclear weapons to British soil is being challenged by the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, the CND, because it is being attempted without planning permission. The campaign group asked West Suffolk Council to intervene and insist that the planned 144-bed facility at the RAF Lakenheath to be a subject of environmental impact assessment or to be halted. Work on the dormitory is due to start next year, and its purpose is to house the extra US personnel who will be needed to safeguard any return of the B-61 air-launched nuclear bombs to Lakenheath for the first time since 2007. Kate Hudson, the CND's General Secretary, accused the US Air Force of ploughing ahead by purposefully relying on planning rights that assume that the development won't have significant environmental effects, and so ignoring the risks that storing nuclear weapons in Suffolk would entail. So they're going down the argument of environmental catastrophe, of the reasons why they can't store them here. But and yes, of course, there is that too, of storing such dangerous weapons. But I think my point of actually being able to destroy the world might be more of a significant reason why I wouldn't want them on my soil. US nuclear weapons were stationed in the UK throughout the Cold War, providing decades of protests. Cruise missiles were deployed at the Greenham Common but were removed from the Berkshire site in 1991. Air-launched gravity bombs remained at Lakenheath until 16 years ago. After 3 decades of partial disarmament, nuclear states have been gradually upgrading and increasing their size of their arsenals. 2 years ago, the UK said it would increase its stockpiles of Trident warheads by 40% to 260, while the US is updating its gravity bombs to the B-6112, which has a maximum yield of 50 kilotonnes. It is the B-6112 that the US is considering whether to deploy at Lakenheath. The maximum power of the warhead is more than treble the 15 kiloton Hiroshima blast, the first of 2 bombs dropped in Japan at the end of the Second World War. Vladimir Putin this month withdrew Russia's ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, placing its country in an equivalent position to the US. Moscow has repeatedly drawn attention to its nuclear missiles since its invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The MOD's position is that it believes that the proposed dormitory in Lakenheath does not need planning permission because the Crown has permitted developmental rights, and so the work can continue without public consultation. CND argues that it is not the Crown that is undertaking the development but the USAF, using a $15 million budget allocation granted by Congress, and that the environmental impact assessment cannot be sidestepped. If the Council declines to intervene, CND is likely to go to the courts and seek a judicial review on its decision. The battle over the dormitory is thought to be the only way to start a public consultation of the plans, as storing nuclear weapons at Lakenheath is not in itself a planning issue. Ricardo Galma, a solicitor at Leaf Days advising CND, said the goal was to give the nuclear weapons storage place proper scrutiny. The planning process is one way for members of the public to make representation on these controversial plans, he said. The MOD has a policy of not confirming the presence of nuclear weapons at a given location. Details of the weapons storage proposals have instead emerged through Pentagon budgetary disclosures. The facilities are not expected to be ready and to store any nuclear bombs until the middle of the decade. West Suffolk Council has been contacted for comment. As of right now, there has still not been any more information on this, just for the record. But like I said about nuclear weapons, they are abominations and they can destroy the world. And while they are a deterrent, they can act as a deterrent. There's no arguing that. And unfortunately, history has proven that having nuclear weapons can act as a deterrent. Doesn't sit well with me. It makes me uncomfortable. And they're making the great argument point of using the environment as an argument point to try and stop them being put here. This is going to be a tough battle for them. This is going to be a really difficult battle. I honestly don't know if we're going to be able to stop them. Like we have lost so much sway in the world over the last 13 years that our influence has declined. Are we really going to be able to stop this? I'm generally torn 50-50 on this. A part of me feels like perhaps the courts may come in our favour, perhaps they may just let it slide, and the US will just push their way through because they are the big dogs, and at the end of the day, the UK does whatever the US tells it to at the end of the day, isn't it? So, but it doesn't sit well with me at all. Having US nuclear bombs when we already have enough of our own weapons that we store here in this country. What do you guys think? Is there any possibility that perhaps US nuclear bombs may be stopped from being hosted here in the UK? Do we not have sufficient of our own weapons to protect ourselves? Why is this being pushed? Why is this the need for this to happen? What do you guys think in the comment section down below behind all this? Let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I go live. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.